right. Hey guys. So, as promised, I'm going to be coming to you guys again with better videos and better quality, making sure I put effort into my lighting and audio so that you guys can better understand some of the perspectives that I'll be coming to you guys with, right? So, what I wanted to talk about today was Moram Zandani and the New York mayoral election. Um, a lot of people aren't really talking, like the mainstream media is just kind of not really talking about him in a way that I think is indicative to what his actual winning of the New York City mayoral race would actually mean, right? I don't think that it correctly corresponds to what's happening. Everybody knows that the coastal elites in the coastal cities, whether it's New York or California, essentially, maybe sometimes Florida, they predict, or the things that they do in those areas are years ahead of what happens in middle America or other places or second tier markets, whatever you want to call it, in America. And because Zandani really is focusing on a socialist policies that benefit everyone, I don't think that the mainstream media is really aware, or they're purposely ignoring the fact that his swing, the pendulum swinging left, is going to happen with him, and it's going to be huge. Um, Whether you believe or think that these socialist policies, whether it's state-run grocery stores, city-run grocery stores, and free subway fare and rent control, are going to actually work or not, they resonate to what people are actually feeling right now, right? There's a lot of news in the economy about, like, the economy has done huge numbers. I was just watching an interview with Andrew Ross Sorkin from CNBC, and just talking about the record profits that Wall Street has been seeing. And then just recently, we saw that Trump did a threat of a tariff, and it tanked Wall Street. And I say that because it kind of closely mirrors what people are feeling, which is like just uncertainty. The rich are getting richer, but it does appear that the everyday people are it's not trickling, right? Like, the economy is being propped up by the top 1%, while everyone else kind of figures what's happening, right? Whether it's administration changes or job losses, the gutting of the Department of Education, all of this stuff, right? Well, I think Zamdani is going to be a huge symbol for what is going to happen moving forward. I think people should also pay attention to what's happening in Minneapolis and Minnesota, right? Um, Politics and policy is going to have to change in a radical way, especially after this current red wave that we saw over the last year. And I think the people who voted for that red wave are the ones who are going to need these policies, right? Whether it's, universal health care or some sort of universal basic income. I'm not really sure what it means. My thing is that I just don't think that the media or people really understand what is happening in New York City, and that his election, and if he is elected, what that's going to mean for the rest of the country. And I think politicians, I think the media, I think businesses and Wall Street, I think Main Street, I think everyone needs to pay attention to that. And I find it to be very interesting. I follow a page on social media called, like, I think it's like People of New York or Stories of New York or something, Humans of New York, I think it's called. And I saw, right, his impact in the city just through a few posts on there, and I've been following his campaign, right? And he's like the little giant that could. He's like the little Mamdami that could, right? The little engine that could. He's really kicking butt, and that's because his policies resonate with people. His policies have to resonate. That they resonate with people. Like, people feel, whether Wall Street says it or not, that their dollars aren't going as far, and there's more month than money every single month. So there's going to have to be some drastic policies that like, connect that. The other thing that I want to talk about in this video is the fatigue, black fatigue. I am wondering, well, first of all, we know what black fatigue is, right? I'm a black male, so black fatigue affects me in a very interesting way. Although I'm highly educated, make good money, it's my community, right? When people see me, they don't know Like people don't really know the difference, especially if they've never really interacted with the black community before. I wonder if the cure for black fatigue or the issues that people have with the black community, which apparently is a culture crisis, can be cured through these policies, right? Policies that are a little more socialism policies in nature, where wealth is spread around a little bit to lift the lowest up, but that's state run. So if you're watching this, I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm just wondering and thinking with you guys, because increasingly on X, I am seeing more and more vitriol. I'm not even going to say deservedly so to the black community, but it's a lot. And I don't know if it's because X is like curating the content that I'm seeing where it looks like it's worse than it is, or what's going on. But if you're out there, have you had negative run-ins with black people? And do you think that socialist policies, starting in New York and then trickling through the rest of the country, to where those underserved communities can eradicate some of that bad behavior or whatever you think it may be? I don't know. I'm looking at this from a policy and economic standpoint. It's very interesting. And then with the black fatigue is definitely the rise of the right-wing content creators. They are everywhere right now. It's a content creation grift, clearly. But the right-wing, far right, I'm not going to say right-wing, they're far right influencers. I mean, you say, just make a video talking about how bad black people are, how bad gay people are, and how just not even gay people, bro, black people right now. It's like a hot topic. You say they're bad, we're bad, and you're going to go far. And I feel like X definitely has a lot to do with it. And I just find it interesting. I think that grift is going to come to a close, though, because as Mamdani goes and as New York goes, the rest of the country is going to go. And if he does implement socialist policies that spread wealth all the way around, that could create a situation where the communities that are been underserved now have resources, but taken from others. Just kind of like how they say welfare is. So I don't really know how that's going to work out, but people should watch closely to this mayoral race in New York. We'll check back after November, see what happened. So those are my thoughts for now. Bye.